One shot, one kill.
Fire when ready.
We're basically pinned down, and we're surrounded by snipers.
Can I complain about something, guys?
Is it to do with this movie?
No, not at all. No, I'm not. No, I do. There are some things to say, but they're not complaints. It's more like talking about complaints. But all right, you guys remember COVID? You remember the lockdowns, guys? You remember all the bullshit about totalitarian states and they're trying to like start a police state and all that sort of thing? Remember those people?
Yeah, I remember it.
Okay.
I remember.
So those same fucking people are thrilling to racist grandpa putting soldiers in the fucking streets. That whole thing about like better free than secure, better free than safe is complete bullshit. And I knew they were always liars and I knew they were always hypocrites, but it's very infuriating and sad to see this happening. And I just wanted to say that somewhere in the hopes that someone out there feels my pain. It's just deeply confusing to me. Unless you guys support you guys support troops in the streets. What?
No. I mean, I'm like pick a lane. Like, are you for this freedom with a B or against it?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's absolute ridiculous.
Yeah.
Their relevance is fading, and there's this I know better than you sheep human people. It's the stupidity that the undercurrent of stupidity for that whole movement has just really come to light.
Yeah. It wasn't there when they were talking about ivermectin. Wasn't there, but it's definitely here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I fail to see the point of the military in the streets. I'd be interested to know what they're doing. And I guess is it really rounding up immigrants?
It's part of it. So I'm not a legal scholar, but I read from some eggheads and stuff, and so like the National Guard has capacity to enforce existing laws, and so part of that, I suppose, is making arrests of illegal migrants or whatever the fuck they want to call them. But otherwise, they just have to enforce traffic and so on and so forth, right? Like they don't have special police powers; they just have police powers,
regular police powers.
Yeah. Legally, right? We know what happens when even regular police powers get abused, right? But they don't. I guess still though, it's not special police powers. But that doesn't make me feel any better because all that has to happen is that like someone signs a piece of paper that says, "Oh, police powers are different now," and show us your paper.
Oh yeah, you've done that a few times already.
Yeah,
actually. It is funny though. It is ironic, I guess. That you would that these are the same fuckers that said, I'm hiding my money under my mattress because the bank can shut off my bank account if I fucking donate to a trucker rally.
Yeah. I mean, that's here in Canada, but nonetheless, it's the same fucking breed
it's the same sort
human.
of group of riffraff.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, it just kind of put me in mind of I don't want to call like racist grandpa is not a Nazi. Racist grandpa is an authoritarian, but like this is now he's kind of pushing towards dictatorship. When I see shit like this, when I see like soldiers in the streets for no good fucking reason, like that's not good and it's not normal. And it seems apropos for what we're talking about today. So thought I'd bring it up.
Amen.
Yeah. What are we talking about today? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, man. We're talking about Fury, which I don't know how this went. I don't know how this went past me, guys.
Oh, is this your first time seeing it?
Yeah, this is my first time.
Oh, damn, man.
Yeah.
I think I sent you guys Doc, I think I sent you a picture of it a little while back because I found it at a fucking Goodwill.
Yeah.
Just sometimes I go and do some like old school, old timey DVD hunting, and I just found myself a copy and thought, oh, I'm gonna revisit this.
Yeah. And yeah, just for, I guess we should do like some kind of introduction. So this is David Ayer's Fury, released 2014. We're talking about it today on, I guess we call ourselves Pinned Down. So we are pinned down with James.
James.
Yeah. Say your name, Adam. Let them know who you are.
Adam.
Yeah,
Good work.
Here too. Yes.
Here.
Yeah. Present.
Here to talk about
okay, so
talk about War Daddy. Yeah.
So you watched this movie for the first time, essentially, James. So I like
Oh, sorry. You
to
cut
start
out
with
there
like a
little.
fresh. We've already talked about this and like flipped our cards to each other about what we think of it, but
Yeah.
still though.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, this was. Well, first of all, I we were all just gabbing. I've struggled with a little bit of vertigo this week. I watched this with a blinding headache and a bit of vertigo, and I feel like if I didn't do anything, I cranked up the amps on this movie. It was very violent and very jarring and extremely dark, and just a great, what I felt like was a great portrayal of war and a great view of Nazis and some interesting technical like sort of like you don't really get these very accurate and I'm sure there are people that complained, but these
There's
accurate
tons.
depictions of tanks and equipment and things that are and like I don't give a fuck. This has to be a lot more accurate than anyone else has ever attempted. So fuck off. First of all, if you're that big a fucking tank nerd, great. I'm sure you got them painted up. Fantastic. But I mean, it doesn't look like anyone else is going to fucking try this. So just enjoy it, Yeah. That's it.
That's fair.
Well, that's the first take anyway. That's the
Yeah. How about you?
So is this a true
Eddie?
story?
No,
Wait.
no, it's not. No, it's
No.
not.
No.
I've spent a little bit of time, so it's based off of a book. What was it called? Death Traps. This is on the Wikipedia, but I purchased the book on Kindle just to kind of like scan through it, and it's just about like the massive losses that actually 3rd Armored Division experienced during World War II. This is a movie about 2nd Armored Division, so like that in and of itself like separates the two things, but there's lots of other separations.
Well, I was reading about
yeah.
someone named Lafayette G. Poole, who is
okay.
A military, sort of like a tank platoon commander in World War II, and I don't know if they sort of loosely Brad Pitted him a little, I don't know, but it felt that way.
Okay. I honestly don't know. I don't like. There's so many. It seems unlikely. Like the character of Brad Pitt is supposed to like originally written. He was like 22 or 23, but they got Brad Pitt, and it's weird to think he's like 50 at this point, and that was 10 years ago. He's a 60-year-old man at this to nowadays. That's wild.
Yeah.
This is like David Ayer built this off of a lot of things, but mostly like I got the impression that I feel like he's exorcising a demon from his family. He's pretty explicit about this, but he doesn't say it like that. But kind of like thinking about this movie and some of the things he says, I'm just like, what are you doing here, pal? Like this was a very personal project for him, to say the least. So it's realistic, but it's not based on a real thing. It's kind of like a conglomeration of a bunch of stuff. But I can't find any. I don't even know. There was never an event like this in the 2nd Armored Division of the 9th Army that no one had an experience like this. I went looking around. I was curious.
This guy that comes up when I sort of like looked up the Brad Pitt character or whatever had 258 total armored vehicle kills.
Oh, interesting.
And 12 tank kills and 1,000 soldiers killed. So it was, I don't know if it was just sort of like a loosely thing that somebody maybe on the internet tied together, but it was just actually like kind of a scary dude.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Okay.
He lived to his 70s though, which is also scary.
Brad didn't manage to do that. War daddy. Adam, so you had seen this before, and we both had memories. I saw it like, I guess 2015. Comes out in 2014. I guess like it gets a DVD release or an iTunes release 2015. Yeah. I thought really well of it at the time, but similarly, I hadn't come back to it. But I was like, that was something that I watched.
Yeah, no, it definitely left an impression. I've always thought about it. Thinking about war movies, it's weird that I didn't ever revisit, because I've rewatched several war movies between first time viewing this and now, but. Yeah, I don't know. This really held up for me. Whereas like a lot of movies that I've seen 10 years ago, I'm like, maybe it's, different age back then, different time. This one just, I don't know, it felt even better this time. I actually really liked that it wasn't based on any like true story, but just based more on like the situation. It allowed for some sort of creative liberties and storytelling. A big criticism of this movie was like, oh, it wasn't realistic, and especially the last scene. And I mean, I can't argue that the last scene was probably quite unrealistic, but fuck me, man, that made for some good storytelling and good war movie kind of action. It like, I mean, I'll talk more about the movie itself, but that end scene, I think that's like a classic war movie kind of thing, like the big end apocalyptic battle, right? And it's just like, you have a sense that who's going to make like the which side is going to win that battle, but it's like always a question of who lasts. And it did sort of remind me of that last final sort of scene in Platoon with the napalm and all that shit coming down. It had a similar sense. It was quite drawn out. I mean, when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, there's still half an hour left. Like maybe this ends in 10 minutes and there's just a lot of credits. And no, it kept going, but it was just like, it was, I don't know, it really sort of kept me glued. I thought Brad Pitt's character was great. I love that they didn't give him a lot of like the sort of, there was like a certain element of charm to his character, I think, but like not the same as, let's say, like Inglourious Bastards. And I always say that because I read some stuff on Reddit that was like really comparing this movie to Inglourious Bastards, which I didn't think was a fair comparison at all, other than like Brad Pitt having a lead role. But no, he played like a pretty serious role. I thought the cast was great. With John Barenthal and Michael Pena were great. The guy who played Norman was great. They just it really made me felt like I was riding along with them. And, just there was a good mix of sort of, and maybe this was like kind of unique to tank warfare movies, but like a good mix of that sort of boredom of war and just sort of like, oh, we're just, traveling along, to like all chaos, just fucking breaking loose in a moment. And one of the things I really liked about this movie was that sort of, whenever there was a tank battle, or they were battling like Nazis in the hedgerows, the radio chatter I thought was a great sort of layer onto the visual. It just like it brought this like pure chaos to the whole scene. And then when you see like the tracer bullets, when you see the shells bouncing off the ground, I think it just kind of really brought to somewhat life about what that sort of warfare would actually be like, and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Some of the complaints were that it's shit like this. And James, you already I share your opinion. These people can go fuck themselves. But it's like tracer bullets actually did. They made it look like laser beams and stuff like that. But tracer would show up after 5 seconds. That kind of thing. And tanks wouldn't fire while they're driving because it would throw off the aim. And I'm like, okay, what? Fine, that's probably true. But I don't care, because realism in these movies is extremely, like, a movie is a drama, a movie is a fantasy. If you aim for realism, And these people aimed for realism. Like, you cannot deny that they're aiming for something, some sort of verisimilitude. Like, they're using real tanks. They're using like replicas of all the equipment. Like, they're making mistakes left and right. But like, frankly, having done only a tiny bit of research into World War II at this point, it's impossible. It is like 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 typewriters have produced works on World War II, and you're just never going to get it right. Even if you tried, even if you went for full accuracy, it's never going to happen.
You can look at a little bit of full accuracy if you want. You can watch World War II in color, and it is boring as fuck. And you need to. There is a level of violence and anxiety that you're not going to get unless you're on the ground level, and you cannot duplicate that. So this is how you try to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it. Did you guys read anything about the David Ayer's methods that he used to apparently push the actors? That they would abuse each other verbally and physically, and then they actually all agreed to confidentiality. And during some of the production, they said that Logan Lerman admitted that it left scars. He was like from some of the things they were doing, and John Bernthal said shit happened that he wasn't proud of. I was like, but I mean, like, just seeing things like slapping each other, swearing at each other, like literally hitting each other, stuff like that. That's like, men do that in these situations.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I can tell you that.
You sure?
in when they're sort of pent up, or they're in like these sort of like pack mentality scenarios, and I can't imagine what this kind of scenario would have been like. So I feel that this is something, that it feels true.
That's really interesting. I don't know what that's from, but let's say in the official materials, if you watch the DVD, John Bernthal, for instance, like, we're like brothers now, man. Like, they just talk all of the people, but you're right. The guy who played Norman didn't show up in that documentary. So everybody else, though, they're like, we're like brothers. We love each other. Like, in the like little things, like sometimes even when they weren't filming, they would just showed up to hang on the tank, they said, because they actually lived in the tank, and they like drove the tank. Michael Pena drove the tank. He was better than the stuntman, is what David Ayer says. And yeah, they went through like a boot camp together, and all the things you're saying, James. Like, they did abuse each other, but and maybe over time, like, they've revealed like some other things about that experience. But like circa 2015, when they're producing the materials, they're very positive.
If you're on some, like, if you're with a bunch of men on in some kind of space where you're going to be cooped up and like forced to bond or forced to participate in things get grimier than they are in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, for me, just that rings true, and not in a negative way. It's a way that this is portrayed in a way that makes people feel uncomfortable, because this is what it's like. This is kind of like so.
No, it's a masculinity. Yeah, like it's not even toxic masculinity. It's just masculinity. Which exactly. I guess the argument is that masculinity in and of itself is toxic, and I don't have anything to say to that other than but in this like getting, well, here's a good example. So they're driving. Actually, we get a bunch of the things that we've been talking about. So Adam, you were talking about the boredom and reading about the war a little bit more. Like, sometimes people would just sit around and wait for like a month. You wouldn't do shit in the war for a month. You're just hanging around, waiting for train tracks to be built, so that way you could move your supply line up and extend your front. Now, this movie doesn't go through all that. They show it like them just like riding on the tank, just like looking tired, like hanging their head, like in their arms. but when they're fucking shit talking in each other, and so Bible, we're starting to finally get a sense of who these characters are, because it's really been, we open up, there's the white horse or whatever in the apocalyptic field, and then they go back to base and they pick up Norman, and we haven't really had a chance to get to know anybody a lot, like no friendship or whatever, because it's been really tense. So they're driving, and then that girl is going by on the bike, because they're in the train, they're passing the refugees going like opposite the war zone, and my companion's like, yeah, she'll fuck you for a chocolate bar, something like that.
Yeah.
And then and and just the exchange that emerges from that, and then they start, you think Hitler would fuck us for a chocolate bar, that kind of thing. And they're like, I swear to God, I clapped hands. I was so happy because it just felt like a real guy fucking bullshit fest, when like there's no women around for miles, and you're just like, you've been killing people and you're just going to talk how you talk.
Yeah, at that point, yeah. The other scene that sort of, I don't know, really I thought was great was the scene where they're having that meal in the German girl's house, and it was just like, there was such a tension there, and it like, you kind of thought it was going to blow up, but it never did.
Mm-hmm. It was awful.
Like, brutal exchanges, and like John Parenthal was just a fucking menace, and like, so appreciate his acting in that scene. And I thought that was great, that like, again, like expecting like at least some punches, someone throwing someone on the ground and knocking some teeth out, but it ends with Brad Pitt's character War Daddy just spitting a bunch of eggs in John's face, and that was it. And it was just sort of like, and he was like, I'm trying to enjoy my meal. Like, he was trying to bring some semblance of civility to the whole thing and trying to bring normal back. And these guys are all so fucking damaged, and they just can't. They just can't do it. And it just, like, the temperature rises, but it's just like not to that boiling point that I thought it was going to be. And it was almost like anticlimactic for me, but I thought it was so well done. That was my hand-clapping moment with this movie.
I saw like a class distinction in all of that. So Brad Pitt's character comes to me like,
yes,
like the Saving Private Ryan. What's his nose? Tom Hanks. They've got that bet. Who is he? And he's like, oh, I'm a teacher. That kind of thing. And but in this, he speaks German. He later on at the end, in one of the like genuinely beautiful scenes, when he like just suddenly knows all the Bible verses, like he's known it that entire time.
Yeah. That was great. Yeah. That was great.
And so like, for him, he just like, he represents at the same time, like, I know you don't read comics, but but maybe I like, you don't read comics, Adam, but there's a writer, Garth Ennis, and so he has a sort of mentality similar to like this movie, in his writing, and he has a particular type of like perfect man. And the perfect man in the Garth Ennis book is like, he's cultured, he's intelligent, but he's ruthless. And he understands the world of violence, like that whole like ideas are peaceful, history is violent thing that Brad Pitt says. That sort of right wing coded like view of the world. Like he just and so the others aren't necessarily, they are damaged. Everybody's damaged. But like they're from, where do they say they're from? They're from Brooklyn. They rhyme off some of the places they're from when they're
Carolina.
Yeah. And so I just, like they're just poor, like, I don't know, poor guys are like poor guys circa 1940, like 1930. That's a different vibe. Like those guys went to school till grade 5 or something, right?
Yeah.
And you get that. And you get that shitheadedness from John Bernthal when he licks the eggs. Like, that's such a real thing for someone to do.
I didn't touch her.
Yeah, you're just like, you fuck. That's, and what are you going to do? Punch him for licking an egg?
Yeah, I read a thing that too, that there was some people upset online that said that Brad Pitt saying, that's a good, clean girl there. If you don't go take her in that bedroom, I will. Is a rape. The whole thing's just a rape scene that for whatever reason wasn't considered a rape.
Mhm.
So there are people online that were upset that it wasn't spoken about directly that way, but it's because to me it was just because this is such a nasty time and place in the war, and these guys have seen so much fucking horror and participated in so much horror that
Mhm.
actually becomes something that's not even that bad, you know, in terms of the violence and degradation that could happen. They could have just been dragged out, raped, and shot in the head, but they weren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, a more clandestine rape was felt like almost like a pass, you know, like even though everything was heightened, like you were saying, Adam, the whole thing just sort of just like rose your tension level to like 54, and then just to see her just be like destroyed by a fucking loose mortar. And see her corpse in the rubble at the end, just to let you know where we are, what the groundwork is for this fucking place. Like, good lord.
Well, after that, when Norman sees her body, I have something to say about the larger scene, but just since it's appropriate, the Norman Barenthal comes up to Norman at that point, and he's like, just leave her, she's dead. And he says, "It's war. Can you feel it?" And that's
like,
that's when we
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's when Norman starts to make the proper transformation into what do they call him at the end when they christen him machine? You're just a drinking fucking killing machine. Anyway,
I also like that you get to see that, like,
he never makes the transition past that point, right?
What do you mean?
He never really makes the transition into a killer. Like, he doesn't shoot the fucking guy in the woods. He doesn't kill the fucking guy until Brad Pitt beats the shit out of him and basically forces him to shoot the guy with the fucking gun in his hand. And then he only shoots the guys in the town because they were already on fire. So he's still soft, even though they beat the shit out of him this whole way along. And then like you say, that's the transition happens. And then that's when I felt that I could feel the war also.
Yeah.
The scene, okay, so I don't view that whole scene as a rape. I don't like. Okay. It's certainly an unusual circumstance, right? Brad Pitt's like, I didn't take his words like I'm going to take her and go rape her or whatever. It's like I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It sounds weird. It's like a fatherly way of saying like, look, there's a beautiful woman there. Like someone's going to take her if you don't. And they do have a loving moment or whatever in there, and it is very unusual circumstances, but like fuck, humans at the extreme of experience, like they're gonna do strange things, right? Like and so like if anyone's gonna talk about rape, let's does he explicitly
says it, right? He says they're alive.
And they're young,
they're alive, and they're still alive. Yeah. That's it. Fucking leave them.
And they fall in love in that moment, you know, like and that struck me as a very human moment. And like I like fine, it does like consent doesn't make any sense in that fucking scenario, right? Like it's humanity. Sorry, I'm just repeating myself at an extreme. But if you wanted to talk about rape, you could talk about like the guys taking that girl into the tank, you know, like I guess that's but that's more like sex work, I suppose. But that was
pretty well. I mean, I'm sure they're just also surviving in those cities, right?
Absolutely. And it's not their first rodeo. She'll fuck you for a chocolate bar, you know, like that's. And they could have depicted that much more. I don't know. I think it's a Vietnam thing. You depict rape like that in a Vietnam movie. You don't do that in a World War II movie. Not when you're trying to like portray the greatest generation and the difficulties they went through.
That's what actually. That's funny. But in some of our conversations leading up to this, Adam, you said that about Saving Private Ryan, where there's like a hoidiness to it. Yes, a righteousness to it, where it's like it's holding itself to this standard where there was only fucking glory, no fucking dirt, no grime, no depression, no nightmare scenarios, nothing, right?
And it was always like we're on this like righteous march across Europe, and I mean like I don't know, like I don't know, fine, leave morality aside, but I don't disagree that what the Americans and the Allies did in 1944 onwards was the right thing to do, but it just like I can't imagine that was a good, easy, righteous feeling task. And I feel like for all the times that the movie Saving Private Ryan brought some like the horrors of war, which they were there, but I don't think they were as present as it was with Fury. Like Fury just really brought this, like, this is fucking hell, and if I were doing this, get me out. Like, I'm watching right now a tank roll over a German soldier that's clearly been rolled over several times, and he's as soft as the mud around him. Like, you don't see that in Saving Private Ryan. There's no fucking, like, Hans Zimmer kind of esque, like, soundtrack behind this about, like, oh, this is looking in the greatest generation doing the greatest thing ever. This is like a bunch of guys just grinding it out who have lost their fucking humanity and just want to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I think that for me is why this makes this movie just really haunting, but also like good.
That image of the guy, the body run over, that's apparently like an image from the Red Army coming into Germany, something like that. That's based on a real image. And then if you slow it down and look at it, you can tell that like it's a little balloon man. Of course it is, but like after it gets rolled over, it kind of like you see it like fill up again like an air mattress a little bit.
Yeah, it's like completely soaked in mud, and you can see like little skeletal fingers, and it kind of leaks a bit of blood, but it's like you said, it's been run over many times. It was really grotesque, and that actually stayed with me too. I was like, "Oh, what the fuck!" Like every part of this movie was just like another nightmare exercise. And like you say, like you can watch the World War II in color, and you can watch guys walk beside a tank for fucking 4 hours. That's fine. That happened, but you don't go to the movies to see that. So yes, this is condensed violence, and condensed nightmare scenarios, but they like you say, they all ring true. Granted they're not true because it's a fiction, but I mean we've all read our fair share of war stories, and I've read worse than this too. So I don't know,
Yeah. The back to the question, like righteousness, comparing it to Saving Private Ryan, I do think that there's a righteousness in this. Like the more it's a particular type, of course. It's not the same sort of strained liberalism of a Spielberg. This is, again, it comes from a sort of right-wing Christian perspective. You need a big stick if you want to, just that whole like ideas are peaceful, history is violent. But at the same time, I found myself thinking, like, could you do a version of this movie starring the Taliban? And I was like, yeah, you probably could. It would be the same movie, like because what's the essential story is that like so fine, you got a bunch of guys, they've lost their humanity, they've been in war, maybe not Taliban, but I don't know, like a Muslim, Hindu, like some other religion. Could you just map it on to like any other human experience? And would it have the same sort of propagandistic quality? And I do think so. Particularly, because like they're losing their humanity, and I don't know. I think it comes down to martyrdom. This movie, it makes a point of associating religion and martyrdom and salvation in all sort of and like concepts of civilization, all in some really heady stew that comes to it flourishes. It comes to its fruition in a final sort of pitched battle, suicide mission, essentially, in order to save, because they're on a mission. They says they're on a flank guard mission. So the other guys are going east. They're going north to make sure that the supply lines and everything aren't going to get cut off. And so they're saving the war effort. And they basically they're committing themselves to God in that moment. We're doing the righteous work. We're gonna live in heaven after this. I think often that's missing, that sort of earnest Christian missionary work idea that it was probably in the minds. I know it was definitely in the minds of a lot of Germans, and it had to have been in the minds of Americans. You tend not to see that depicted. And that too rings really true, right? Like that's a flavor that you don't usually get, and it just like, yeah, it feels like as theatricalized as it is and dramatized as it is. I'm just like, yeah, man, that's probably what a lot of people were thinking. Like even if they didn't have those Bible verses memorized.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like, that's got to be a huge factor to keep you going forward when you're in the face of that.
Yeah,
like the terribleness of war. You've got to find some semblance. I'm just watching the scene now where they're taking they're invading the German town. They're taking all these kids out of the building, and
Christ,
I'm thinking about their opening credits. And James, you bought me this book a long time ago, Total War. It was about the first Total War with Napoleon. And
right, yeah,
really resonated with me. I remember reading that book and loved it. And you thought about like this again as like real total war, like mobilizing your entire civilian population to go forward and fight. And there's like girls in pigtails. It's just, this is like the most brutal. Like they're just executing an SS officer right now, and it's just like that was a deep-rooted.
Hey,
like,
hey, Fritz,
we've got a mission. yeah.
They give him to Angel or whatever. Ta, 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 ta. That guy was such the guy who played that Nazi guy. He just played it so stoic and shithead. You hated him. Just murder him. There's so many war crimes that can occur in this movie. Fucking aces.
I'm watching them beat the shit, or Brad beat the shit out of Norman and execute that Nazi.
Oh yeah.
After that first little tank exchange, and it's just
Come on, Norman.
the funniest. Norman. The funniest shit is the juxtaposition between all the regular other soldiers there, who all appear to have seen this many times, which is hilarious.
They're like,
or they're non-reactionary. One dude's having a snack. I think the Eastwood kid, he's like licking his fingers because he's like eating something while they're beating the shit, and Norman's screaming, "I can't do it!" That's fucking madness. And then they just shoot him, and everybody's like, they're all basically, they're celebratory and also semi-disgusted with the fact that Norman's such a bitch. And it's just this baptism of like nightmare world just continues on. And this is where the characters kind of break a little bit too, because these people are all nightmare people. They're all beyond reproach. We're fucking, these guys, like you say, they've all lost their humanity. That's established, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to get worse going into the German town, so on and so forth. But this is part of the building block where these people each one of them becomes an important sort of cog in Norman's development, and becomes like a father figure to Norman, all in different aspects. So each character holds like a different care for Norman and tries to bring Norman a different lesson. Even the Bernthal character in that Nazi hospital tries to tell him, I think you're a good man, and we're not, and that's just like, by the end, that's the tragedy, that Norman's the only person to survive, because you got to see all of their humanity, and you got to see all of them drive their like fatherly and human ability, So anyway, it was just
no, that's a wonderful way of putting all of that, because you hit the nail right on the head. That's what sets this movie apart, because if you aimed for full realism and you forgot about the drama, then you fucked up. And David Ayer in this case was like, he had the good sense to sacrifice realism for drama whenever drama was the most important part. And it fucking works, man. Like a movie of this violence and this grittiness that also has this much heart. Go look around, man. Turn up stones all over town. You're not going to find it. You're going to find it here, though. I think that's what makes it, like, I'm going all in on this war movie. And that I've seen anyway. Like you can't make me watch a movie from 1954 now and give a shit about tank warfare. It's not going to happen. And I've seen it. Yeah. This is what it looked like.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the funny thing
agreed.
too. Is like if you're gonna put 5 war movies in front of me and tell me they're the best and this isn't one of them, I'm gonna be pretty surprised, and you're gonna have a hard fucking sale on your hands. And
Yeah,
I could say that. I could say that very confidently.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I will defend this movie against all the criticism that it's received. Like, I actually quite easily can do it. I think if
you'd
people
think
have a problem
so.
with this movie, don't you don't have a good sense of what a good war movie is, and if you're complaining about the realism, go watch a documentary and be bored.
Yeah.
I'll be
Because
bored.
even when they were filming, so I saw so you see them filming in the special features. They like the tank battle when the 3 tanks come out, and they're trying to save those guys who got pinned down by armor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I saw you see the actual filming, and it's almost like it's kind of like a blue sky day when they're driving over the hedge and stuff. But the film does it makes it all like gray, and it washes away all the color. Yeah. And so that's the distinction. That's one of the most important distinctions. I was like, God, it would still be pants shittingly terrifying to be in that beat field getting shot at by anti flak guns. And enemy soldiers and stuff, but it wouldn't look gruesome. It wouldn't look apocalyptic in any way. It would just be another day. And that has its own horror as well, of course, but it just doesn't look good in film.
Yeah.
No, sure. That's funny too, because that moment that's the Panzer, right? You're talking about?
No. The first time they're sent on a mission to go save those guys. Yeah, but probably same thing with the Panzer. Not the Panzer, the Tiger. But still, when they fight, they fight the big Russian tank, the Tiger.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they were the Tiger, and that was the Panzer. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, they're the Sherman. Right. They're the Sherman.
Oh, okay, very well. So and that's that was one of the cool parts for me too, because they open with that intro talking about how they were technologically outclassed by some of the equipment of the Germans.
Yeah.
In terms of their tanks, and that's when you got to see the American tank shells just ricochet off the front of the armor, and you went, fuck, that was terrifying. And how all of those guys must have felt and just and also obviously that was such a fucking cool battle, and I don't care if normally you can't flank tanks or shoot while you're moving and so on and so forth. That's fine. Doesn't matter because it looked like a fucking awesome scene. That was the time where that was sort of the foreshadowing at the beginning sort of came through for me a little bit.
Yeah. Apparently the technique would have been to shoot the treads and just drive around it. That kind of thing. Again, they have to fuck around, right? And
that's what also thought was super interesting about this movie was tank warfare, bringing that to the head is it was what the last scene or not the last scene, sorry, but when they were really in that battle, I think with the Panzer at the end, and they were trying to get around it, and War Daddy's yelling out the orders, hard left, right, reverse, on my mark, and it was just taking advantage of the knowledge of that German taking its weakness and leveraging that based on the shittiness of a Sherman take. That would have been terrifying, having to do that as opposed to just head-to-head warfare.
Yeah.
I thought that was.
I know where to shoot it. I know where to shoot it.
Yeah. I like that. And again, it's a real tank. And so, one of the things that I found, and we kind of talked about this in the chat, is just how much it feels like farm equipment, how much it just stripped down.
Rudimentary.
It is. Yeah, it's just a machine. It's an engine. And I guess there's got to be a battery in there somewhere. There's some sparks at that some point, but and they all know the engine so well that you got her choked up, all that fucking car talk that people do. But it's more like tractor talk, and they're getting that big machine rolling. I just I've never seen a movie that featured tanks. Tanks tend not to feature in movies, and you'd think they would because they're very cool instruments of war. But even then, when you get a tank, it's just kind of at a distance. It's maybe some stock footage or something like that. I don't think any other movie aside from maybe movies they were making into, I understand it to be the case that there's like some tank related shit in the 50s that got produced, but I don't, obviously it didn't make the cut as far as our cultural consciousness goes. But yeah, as far as we're concerned, I'd never seen tank warfare. I'd never seen the interior of a tank. I'd never seen like so many things this movie showed me that I'd seen bits of here and there. Like I love Jason Isaacs, the captain, the guy with the scar face,
horrible scar on his.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I know what you guys do. I know what you did. Just paste them real good for me, and they all talk like they're from New York or like the various regions of America, and it all comes off pretty well.
Yeah,
feels like a real American effort, like a national effort. Would you guys commit war crimes?
Yes.
Safe space.
Also, I love the distinction of the SS guys. That's like throughout the whole move. He the one hanging the kids. You guys talked about that earlier, but I love how the SS guys are just singled out. Like they can't even. They drag that guy through the camp at the beginning.
I
they
love
can't
that.
even
Yeah.
fucking.
Oh yeah.
They can't. You don't bring him fucking through here, and they just lose it. It's just great.
Brad's. Oh, I'll interrogate him. Like that. He's very exceptional. Like I like Brad Pitt, and sometimes he shows up to act, and other times he shows up to be Brad Pitt. I really got like he was someone else in this movie, in a way that you tend like to the best of his ability to get out of something, his own persona. I felt it.
He was more subdued. Like I say, he didn't bring that like normal charm.
Yeah,
there was still some charm to it, his character.
Yeah, well, there's an awesomeness to him.
Yeah, it was but it wasn't like that. Like I said, the charm from the other movies where I've seen him. I don't know. There was like this subdued, almost sinister charm to him. You can tell he's very tired, and like when he gave that little spiel, he's like, I started off killing Germans in North Africa, and then in France. Now I'm killing Germans in Germany, and he's like, this is a constant theme throughout a bunch of war movies. Like, war is going to end someday. Kind of thing. And but you got the sense that he was just like this exhausted guy at that point, and just like trying to get even the last scene with him when he's just like, again, not realistic, but good fucking storytelling in a war movie, like just taking shot after shot, and then he sits down in the tank and he grabs the gun, and you see it later on the handle of the gun, it's got like some woman's picture on it, and before you see that though, he looks down, he's like, I did my best. And that's just kind of like a pretty powerful, impactful scene, because it was like a bit of a vulnerability coming from him, where it's just like, I tried and I failed. And before that, you never got the sense that he had any sort of weaknesses.
You did a little bit. You got to see. I did like about the. So this it contradicts you, but at the same time, it doesn't. Like he had, like even when he went to like after he returns at the beginning of the movie, and they take the dead body of their former comrade out of the tank.
Yeah.
Where they
sits down and has that heads on the hands and kind of
where his face was left. You don't see that every day. But just like he has that little breakdown, and every once in a while, like even after the exchange in the with 3 tanks, and they're saving the men. When it's all over, before he starts giving Norman shit, he can barely take his helmet off because of the adrenaline, right? It's that stuff. So he's not breaking, but he's got shell shock, as you would call it, but he's able to manage through it, right? And there's
always this like subdued kind of thing to him too. Like it's just like, I think to your point earlier, like he's sort of like that sort of more cultured kind of guy. Like I'm watching the scene where he's in the apartment right now. He's reading the paper.
Yeah. Yes.
He's waiting for his breakfast, but he's reading Stars and Stripes. And but it's almost like it's about to boil over, like underneath him. It's just like there's always this sense that he's just hanging on to it.
But he's not. But he never boils over.
Yeah, he never loses it.
He never loses it.
Yeah, like when he slammed his hand on the table You're like a dad, like really like the war daddy, you know?
Yeah.
That was it. Everybody was like, oh, we pissed dad off. You know, like we were poking him and poking him and poking him.
And they all did too. They all took their turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did. They all backed down after that too.
Yeah.
I
they
think
weren't quite happy with it, but
it's funny because that's how they established the severity of the Brad Pitt character. Was at the dinner scene with no real violence. His severity was established.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, wait a sec. No one's going to take this to the next level? Or that you get the sense they already have. Or they've already tried. Or they've seen some fucking shit. And it's not gonna go past this. And you're like, wow.
They don't want to.
Like, no, well, exactly.
He is the only guy that we see knife a German twice. Like right at the beginning of the movie, fucking, and then that guy like coming through the top of the tank.
Oh yeah, just like bloodlets him.
Yeah. So okay, Shia LaBeouf. You can't tell me that Shia LaBeouf's not a serious person after watching this movie. I thought he was fantastic, and it like. From that moment on, I was like, okay, like he's an unserious human who's capable of good work. And so,
I think he's a serious human that has human problems, you know, that maybe other people in Hollywood either don't experience or maybe just haven't had to have the same kind of mental battles that he's had to have in his life.
That's charitable of you. That's very kind.
Well, you know, that's how I feel about him. I don't know.
I
don't know.
Well, because he's not like, does he have like weird sex pest allegations associated with him, or is he just a weirdo asshole? I
don't think so. I think he's had some domestic stuff happen, but I think that he has some kind of post-traumatic stress or anxiety and some kind of heavy depression. Maybe he's bipolar, but he's clearly unhinged and struggles with it. Sort of like probably has had highs and lows in his life. But yeah, this was a very serious acting clinic that he put on, and I know everyone, and he did cause some controversy by not bathing and pulling his own tooth out, cutting his face with a knife.
He's cutting the face. Do we know that he pulled his own tooth? Like,
we do. He did. He pulled his own. He couldn't get a dentist to do it. They were like, "There's no viable reason for us to do that. You know, it's a health concern." He did it himself on the bottom. I think he pulled one of his teeth out, and that's real.
I got contradictory reports on that, and I'm not like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that was
No. Because for years, the story that you just told is the one that I understood to be the case. I'm inclined to believe it. But there was also like side references to like he blacked out tooth and that kind of thing. I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. It really looked like he was missing a fucking tooth. He definitely cut his face.
Yeah, he did cut his face, and he made people on set very uncomfortable. And the cuts on his face, you can see them. Sometimes they're bleeding. I don't know if he fucking clawed at them and shit after he did it. You can see that sometimes they're clearly a little infected. It's fucking gross. And and then he also, I guess, he didn't bathe very often or at all, and had some kind of like verbal altercation with Eastwood's kid.
Yes. I read about that.
Clint Eastwood kid is
do you know
he's
the
a
story?
Fucking nobody, so I don't know what he's got to cry about.
This was in the IMDb trivia, so I don't know the source on it, but apparently the story is that they're on the tank, they're around the tank, and Eastwood's kid, what's his name, Scott Eastwood, he's pouring coffee on the tank or something like that. Like he spits on the tank, he's spitting on the tank or whatever, and Shia LaBeouf just fucking lost his mind about this and started telling him off and got into like grabbed him and everything, and they had to be told that Scott Eastwood was supposed to be spitting on the tank, right? So that's a little much if true, but fine, he fucking sold it. I think everybody came to play. I don't really care for Michael Pena a lot of the time. Pena. I don't dislike him, but he never really usually he just kind of plays like a slimy weirdo on the side.
What's true?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, his role is great. I'm still watching the scene where they're eating their eggs. When he shows up in that top hat with the cane and the gold chain, and just starts ripping on everyone, but then it has this moment of remorse. He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm just really drunk."
Yeah,
and it's just this humanity comes through. This is probably my favorite scene of the whole movie. It just the tensions come through, personalities come through, the fucking pain of all of them comes through so hard.
Yeah, you see earlier in that scene, you see Brad Pitt's burns on his back,
his back
that make the women go completely silent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some real terror and everything is just there's just this ominous feeling just hanging over everything. And Michael Pena too. There's a scene at the beginning when he grabs
he's holding the guy's dead
Norman's notebook, and Norman goes to grab it back, and he looks at fucking Norman like he's absolutely crazy for putting his hands on him, and I was scared. I don't know. It's hard to deliver that kind of emotion. It's a funny thing.
But yeah, also when he was holding his hand, the guy's hand, it was that was intense. He just didn't want to let it go.
Yeah, show some respect. He's dead. He's dead. Michael Pena was in a previous movie with David Ayer's End of Watch, which I've never seen. Honestly, I got time and a half. So I've never seen.
I've seen that. Actually.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Also.
I haven't of the David Ayers movies I've seen. That's actually quite few. It's Sabotage, starring Schwarzenegger. Sorry, Fury. I've seen The Beekeeper, and that's it. Which is kind of sad. I feel that I've done myself a disservice here because, I like the Beekeeper was kind of stupid. It was just a stupid action movie, right? There was nothing really going on there. I think Sabotage as well, but the director of Fury gets my attention from now on. I'm going to see what this guy is up to. Even if it means watching the Suicide Squad movie. Fuck. How was that?
Which one?
The first one with Will Smith.
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just generally pretty bad. Because the second one was a great time.
Yeah, I bet there's some good stuff to come back to.
You know what? There's some charm to it. There's some fun to it. It's a weird piece in the DC thing. If you can watch fucking Batman with the fucking Batfleck, you can treat yourself to that.
Yeah. I guess one last thing before we finish up. Amazing soundtrack. We didn't really have a chance to mention it, but I like how the soundtrack is. It's very ominous. It's a little stupid. The only time I found it annoying was when they come into the German village and they shoot the SS guy, and for whatever reason, it's totally uncharacteristic. The movie, it's very triumphant in that moment. Dun, 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 dun! And I was like, wow, that doesn't work but everything else I can't complain at all. They managed to mix it in with the thunder in the background and also the bombing. Every once in a while you just hear bombing in the background and they wouldn't talk about it.
Planes flying. Just aside, I love the scene where they're riding the tanks and they're just look at that, boys, the bombers, and you start to see the Luftwaffe coming and the fighter jets up attacking and stuff. That would have been just fucking mind blowing to see that, but that was a good, nice touch.
Yeah, there you go, boys. Keep
pounding
them.
The soundtrack was just fucking shells going off. Jesus.
No, go back and listen to it. There's so much music. There's so much music in this movie, and it does a lot of the work. I mean, that's another thing that would be missing in any sort of actual war fighting. If you're looking for realism, no soundtrack, just driving. Every once in a while. Anything else? You guys done much killing?
No.
Well,
Nothing.
you will.
I made a joke about just watching this movie and dreaming about dying like a real man in a tank. That's all we have left for us, boy.
Yeah, that's it. Sadly, fuck, man. Let us never forget. Well, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's there. Let's do it. Let's give it a rating. See if we put our money where our mouths are here. Can we give this a 10 out of 10 across the board?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, no, I think we can't. I think like it has a couple again, the ending's really dumb. It really makes no sense that they're fucking just charging at the fucking tank.
9.8.
What are the best? What are the best war movies you guys have seen? What are your top?
Well, that's the
top one or two war movies. Let's hear them. What is it, Patton?
I mean, this is a whole other debate. But
yeah, well, like, what is a war? No, I'll say Paths of Glory.
Just quick. What?
Yeah,
Paths of Glory.
Paths of Glory.
Wow.
I'd put that one up there. Apocalypse Now we discussed as a freak show rather than a war movie, so I'm that off.
Platoon.
Platoon. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like it's the problem is like I tend not to enjoy. Well, I guess Full Metal Jacket's got to be on there, but that's like two Kubrick movies.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan. We did talk about that and got mentioned a couple times.
It's true. You know what, man? Honestly, I got to put that on the list. That's a banger. It is.
Yeah.
When they fucking rush Normandy and everything. Yeah.
So if I'm dropping all those out there just in the wild, I'm gonna say this has got to be a 7 or 8 out of 10. I still think it's still right. Like for me, it's right hanging there on the bottom of the list. But there's there are great war movies that you can't deny, kind of, and I don't think this is better than them.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I disagree.
Tropic Thunder.
But it doesn't like. I think it's just because it's still relatively new. It's 10 years old, and so we're having troubles giving it the title of maybe. I don't know how Adam feels, but like probably.
Yeah,
we can call it.
Nothing on that Tropic Thunder joke. Nothing. No. Okay.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Good. I'm sorry. Good, but
no.
So I mean, like, I think one of my favorite war movies is Thin Red Line because it balances that like deep introspective with the,
I love that movie. That's the best one. That's the best.
So
one.
maybe that's next.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe that's next up for us. But this one is like it doesn't have the same sort of kind of vibe to it, but it's got something that just resonates with me about the brutality and the sheer fucking horror of it all. And like, you feel for Norman in this movie. Like, it's just like, and he was like, yeah, I'm a typist and they made a mistake. And John
they don't make mistakes.
She doesn't make mistakes, man.
Do what she do.
You kind of feel for that guy. You're part of the machine now. And this movie really drives that home. And there's a lot of good sort of scenes between him and War Daddy. I'm watching the scene right now. He's like, see that? That's a whole town burning. And this is the beginning of the end for Norman, right? This is when his transition to machine starts to really take hold. So I think it's a great war movie on that sense. I'm going to give it like out of 10. I'm going to give it like 9.5 at least. This is up there.
Okay.
Yeah, it really held up.
Yeah,
right, I chickened out. Sorry.
I feel similarly with Adam in that. This one. It's going to take a lot to knock this one out. Like I would watch this probably right now, and I'm going to watch it at 5 years. It's strange to think this is like it's a comfort food movie, but it's really it fills a void in the war movie space that didn't it just never got filled before, and here we are.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, but Thin Red Line. That's a long one, but that's definitely one to watch.
You see these vines?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, nature's cruel, Stavros. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
get my boys some water up here. Jesus fucking Christ!
If they gotta pass out, well, I just gotta pass out. What a beauty.
Yeah, so good. Take that ridge, man.
If a man loves the world, love of the Father's not in him. For all that's in the world, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life, it's not of the Father, it's of the world.
World's desires pass away. But he who does God's will is going to live forever.
Forever.